So next is Firestarter, and I have said a lot of things have happened. So I finished the book already. I'm going to end up giving this book a 4 stars. And honestly, I kind of think that maybe this will be another, and I might be wrong, this might be another like Misery was, like it's neck and neck movie versus book situation. Because as long as they have a good father and a good Charlie, like I said, I gave this book a 4 stars. I feel like the relationship between Charlie and her father is extraordinary. There were parts that I'm just like, I kind of confused me a little, like why things were, I guess, thought of by the main characters, like the way the thought process, I don't know. It kind of gets explained a little bit later, but at that moment when I'm reading it, I was like, this doesn't seem right. Like this seems like a whole different character. But there's reasons for that. I just felt for this daughter, man. Like I felt for her so hard. Like I feel so bad for her. I mean, this is a thing. Like it's in the very beginning of the book. So, Andy is the father and Vicky is the mother, and they meet because both of them are strapped for cash. They're in college and both of them are strapped for cash. And so to get more cash, they volunteer themselves for like pretty much almost like a science experiment, they're test subjects for a new drug that they're told is no big deal. When they get married, and then Vicky gets pregnant with Charlie and gives birth to Charlie, that's how Charlie gets her fire powers. Okay, so because of their 2 situations combined has made this new situation happen. So it's all the government's fault. Obviously, it always is, right? They kind of, the father especially, they obviously talk about a lot, but he has what they call the push. He's able to manipulate others into doing and saying what he wants them to do and say. Like he gets into their mind and he's like, for instance, if I wanted my husband to do something like, you want to do the dishes, don't you, tonight? You want, like he would, and then he would do this push thing with his mind and it would make others do that. Whatever he wanted them to do. But okay, so every time he has this issue, he has these massive headaches, right? So, well, his daughter's fire abilities is there's no problems. She has no issues afterwards. She just doesn't know how to control it because she's a kid. So she doesn't know how to handle it. And not only that, but she feels extremely, unbelievably guilty for any time that she does have an issue. And what I really enjoyed about this book is like her growing up, like the father and mother are trying to do their best, just like any other parent, right? Like, so they don't want to like screw up their kid, like mind-wise or anything like that. But at the same time, they don't want her to like burn herself or anything like that. So they're just trying to figure out like a happy medium where they can like make sure she understands the dangers of her special ability at a very, very young age, because it happens from, day one pretty much. At the same time, making sure that she's not mentally scarred for life. As a parent, I'm already worried about that as it is. And the fact that I would have to worry about, my daughter being able to set herself on fire, that's just, the idea of having to deal with a parent, like to be a parent and having to deal with not only the normal things, but then also having to make sure that your kid who can start fires because she gets too emotionally because she's got a wet diaper, for instance. And so like, the father is constantly in his head, it's from his point of view in a lot of times. And so he's like, what is this going to do to my kid? Me doing this, what is this going to do to my kid? Me doing that, what is that going to do to my kid? Like he's constantly worried and thinking about that, which I appreciate a great deal. Charlie's from her point of view, like how she feels whenever she does, lose control, and trying to like handle that and accept what she's done and what she hasn't done or what she could do. It was done very well. Great storytelling. And the way that Stephen King, I felt like, because there's obviously back when, Andy and Vicky are both college students, all that history, and that, because right now, Charlie's on the run. like it goes back and forth how they get from where they are there to like the very, very, very first sentence of the book is them talking about running away from somebody that's in the street with them. And then there is this guy, and I don't know his name, and I'm not going to be looking for it in this book, even though I just finished it. It's the way I can say it, it's the main bad guy, the creepiest one of them all, okay? And if you know, you know. And when he comes into play, it's his character is done very well. I couldn't give this a 5 stars only because I don't know, like, I just felt like it wasn't a 5-star read. It was a 4-star for sure, but it was not a 5. We'll see how the movie goes with the book and see who wins. So I'll report back then. Okay, so I finished the Firestarter movie with Drew Barrymore's version. And I will have to say that they did a pretty dang good job of like adapting it in the aspect of like what happens in the book compared to what happens in the movie. They did a pretty good job in that aspect. I really enjoyed that part. The fact that they were able to, they pretty much got the book movie form. Like, I mean, they pretty much just took this and they were like, boop, there you go. There were some scenes from the book that weren't in the movie, and that's fine because honestly, like those situations or those scenes, I guess you could say, weren't really needed for the movie to convey the same stuff that the book conveyed. But other than that, like the characters I felt like were definitely needed and definitely needed to be a part of the movie were definitely there. Definitely. So that's the good part. Okay. So the acting by the actors was fishy. Some of them were really good, and then some of them were like, ugh. So, it's kind of like that with the Pet Sematary too, like even like to the umpth degree for Pet Sematary because like that was bad acting. But in Firestarters, it was like some actors were extremely well done, and then some were like, wow, okay, well, sure. Read your lines. Good job. That was so. But what really was bad, I felt like, was when I was reading the book, I like, in my mind, like, first off, and again, this is going to be a spoiler talk because I gotta talk to you about some stuff. But real quick before the spoilers, the special effects and the special abilities that the characters have. Well, the special effects showed its age, okay, so we're just going to let that go. But the special abilities that that Charlie has and her father, Andy has, like, being portrayed in the movie, they sucked, okay? Like, when I was picturing it in my head when they were doing it, it just was done a lot. In my head, it was done well. And in the movie, it was not. I guess you could call that starting to talk about the spoiler stuff. But, when she was in the movie, when she's, like, doing her fire abilities or whatever, it, like, takes forever. It takes forever. Like, in the movie, I know it took a little bit for her to, like, get the heat up or whatever, but there's ample warning that she's gonna do it, okay, in the movie. Like, the whole, like, her hair blowing back and, like, going crazy. She, like, stands there for, like, 5 minutes before finally something extreme happens? Like, a lot can happen in 5 minutes. Like, I mean, a lot can happen. I just feel like that part should have been sped up for her, for Charlie. When the father, Andy, like, does his, like, stuff in the movie, like, it's It's not that great either. Like, he had at no point in time, first off, in the movie, which kind of is a better explanation, I guess. I don't remember this being in the book. Maybe it was. But they like say in the movie, don't forget, don't look at him because he can't control you if he doesn't have eye contact. I don't remember if that's in the book. If it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. But I don't remember that being a thing in the book. It is in the movie. And then not only that, but like when he does his like mind controlling thing.
Drop the gun. Drop it.
Like he puts his hands up like this and he's like, like, and I was like, what is he, what is this? So like, I get it. You're in a movie and you're trying to portray that he's doing it. Okay. But I mean, come on. We're not a bunch of idiots watching the movie. When he like says something and the character says it right back to him, like, yes, I will do that. Or yes, this is $500 bill. We get it. Like, we know that he did that. We don't have to have him going like this, like shaking hardcore and like putting his head up there to like, what, make sure it doesn't explode. And that's not necessary. Not only that, but in the book and in the movie, his nose bleeds. So it's obvious that he had done that. We don't need you to be squeezing your head and like shaking hardcore. Like it's, I didn't feel like that was needed in the movie. And it was kind of ridiculous. And it kind of made me laugh in the beginning because I was just like, oh God. Like in the book, the way I was reading it, like it was simple for him to do it. To the point where when he did it, like when they go to the past where he just got his powers, where he's just learning that he's even got them in general, he accidentally does it for the first time, right? So if that's the case, then him grabbing his head and like shaking and really concentrating on making it happen, that wouldn't have happened like when he learned about his powers. He would have never learned them because he has to do all that to get him to be able to do the mind controlling. That doesn't make any sense. I felt like all that added into it. Her like having to stand there forever and like her hair going crazy because of the wind, of the force of the fire, like all of her hair going nuts, and like him having to hold his head, like that was not needed. If anything, it would have been more great and more terrifying if they didn't have all that happening. And instead they were just like standing there, like if she was just stood there and all of a sudden fire started happening. Like I imagined in the book. But instead it's like, oh yeah, watch this, watch all this wind like gusty around her, wait 5 minutes and then she'll start attacking with her fire. Like that, From book to movie, they did it very well. They didn't leave anything bad, like they didn't leave anything that I felt like should have been part of the movie in there. They were able to edit some scenes from the book so that way the movie didn't drag. The pacing was well done. Showing off the abilities from the kid and the dad, that sucked. And it was cringeworthy because I was just constantly like, oh God, here we go again. Because I mean, we as the viewer understand what's happening. We don't need you to have the actors go extreme acting mode and having to act like, you know, this is, you know, the hardest thing in the world for them to do, because in the book it wasn't. So book versus movie, I'm going to still give it to the book. It's not a tie like it was with Misery, and it's not an extreme like book for sure wins like Pet Sematary. It's like, you know, here's the movie and here's the book. Like it's close, but it's nowhere. The book is much better. I got nothing else. Look at that. This reading vlog is done. Let me tell you, that took some of my time. So thank you for coming in and watching me, you know, do book versus movie battle. I feel like this was fun. I don't know if I could do this every single month because this took some time, but I liked it. I think I'm going to do it again. I haven't decided what to do next with the book versus movie battle. Maybe you can give me some suggestions on what needs to be done next. I kind of like the 3 and 3 thing, so I kind of like that idea. Maybe I'll do another Stephen King. Who knows? But thank you for coming. And if you haven't already, subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed this little series that I just did. And I'll see you later. Bye.